Episode 8, Get Back on the Horse. In this one, we welcome Lindsay back to the show. She then proceeds to share her journey, her wins, her trials, and everything that makes her the person she is. It's a wild ride. Head over to iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all other major podcast platforms to check out Confessions of Us. Please be sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. Also, share with your friends and family. Invite them to the journey. Thanks for listening.
This is Lindsay.
This is John.
And this is Confessions of Us.
Oh my gosh.
Watch out.
You're back.
Yes, I am.
Lindsay's back. How's that song go? Back again. I don't think it's an Eminem song. Don't listen to it, kids. It's bad. It's bad news.
Yeah, I don't know what song you're singing.
No one does. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. No one really ever knows what I'm doing. Sometimes I wonder what I'm doing. As I wander through life.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
What are we going to say?
One day you'll just have to tell us some super random moments of your, I don't know, randomness. Random moments of your randomness.
Randomness of my randomness. Cappy. So you're back.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You were missed.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Vince is not quite as cute as you.
Well, I know. Just kidding.
So 2 major events actually happened when you were gone, which is kind of funny. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is how rough my life was, folks.
Rough, guys. Rough, really?
Her birthday and Mother's Day were
a day apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should be so lucky as to celebrate me twice.
Oh, should I be?
Yes.
I should be so lucky. Do you hear that,
So
folks?
lucky.
So lucky. No, it was good. It was a good birthday. It was a good Mother's Day. We got to hang out with some friends.
Shouldn't I be the one telling this story?
No.
And how my birthday was and how Mother's Day was?
I'll ask you how it was. I'm going to tell you how it was from my point of view.
Oh, okay. Go ahead then.
I was a little tired.
Wah, wah, wah.
No sympathy for John.
Nope.
That's okay. Okay, how was it? How was your birthday and Mother's Day?
Yeah, it was great, guys. John actually threw me a surprise birthday party with some of our friends.
Yep.
It was, I was.
Less than 20 people, everybody. Less than 20 people.
And I was actually, weren't we like 19? I think.
I don't know.
We were like 19, I think. But I had this feeling that he was going to throw me a birthday party. But you
had no idea.
Yes, I did. There were some, I'm a woman, so I'm really smart and can
your
read
intuition
into
was
things.
kicking in?
Yes. But then my friend kind of threw me off with a couple things. And then we get into the backyard and surprise, happy birthday.
Bada bing, bada boom.
It was good.
That's how it's done, people.
Yep. And then Mother's Day, you made me breakfast.
You did?
Breakfast in bed.
Got you a card.
You got me a card. You put a Sharpie on Annalise's foot and stamped her foot in the card. Guys, it was pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I had to. I mean, I had to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you did. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's funny is I was like, what am I going to do for Annalise? So for our 2-year-old, I held her hand.
And wrote a note.
I wrote a note, just I love you, Mom, or Mommy, or whatever I wrote.
Yeah.
And signed her name. And for the other, the baby, I was like, well, she clearly can't write yet. Well, the other one can't either, obviously.
I mean, you could have like scribbled something.
So I took a random marker. I was like, I'm just going to rub like marker on the bottom of her foot real fast and like stamp it on the card. So I go and like rub it on there. And I was like, well, this marker's kind of dry. I was like, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It was not fine. Didn't do anything. So I was like, well, then there's a brand new Sharpie in there. So I rubbed that on the bottom of her foot.
Yeah.
And that worked. And then I hurried up and scribbled it off.
What's really funny is I have quite a few stamp pads in this room. And I was like, why didn't you just use the stamp pad?
That's not a thing. That's not a thing. I was trying to hustle.
I know.
Okay. Remember, so you were sleeping.
I was sleeping.
You weren't actually sleeping. I was making breakfast, dealing with the kids, trying to get your card ready, trying to not have Siobhan kill her sister, make coffee. Was it?
How many of those things do you think I
oh my
do
gosh.
in the morning?
All at once? Not that many.
Oh, you just wait. You just wait.
Actually, you probably do all those things minus making a card.
Sometimes I make a card.
With your free hand, you make a card?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I'm.
Wait.
Oh,
So I will
oh.
say this.
Oh.
John gave me the greatest gift that he's ever given me besides our kids. And he
And myself.
Nice, babe.
Thanks.
He made this.
Well,
you ordered it, right?
I had it made.
Had it made. And you told me that when we went on our first date, he said that
I might just marry this girl.
you might just marry me, which I didn't know. Like, when did you tell me that? A week or two ago?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I had wrote it on the thing first.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was like I was warming you up.
Oh,
I was warming you up for the gift.
Oh, so you made it a while that long ago.
Sneaky.
Anyways,
sneaky Johnny.
And so it was a map. It was like a Google map, right? Kind of.
Yeah, you can do like one that's pretty zoomed in. Like you can obviously zoom in and out, of wherever you want. So
yeah.
And I put a little marker on it of where our first date was.
We got snow cones.
Was it
the hookie
lao? I'm sure we have not been saying it right for all these years.
Right?
So.
Oh, that was a good date.
It was a good date.
And it's a great gift. I'm excited to get it framed.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It needs an epic frame.
Yeah. I have an idea for it.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really epic or if I'll even be able to do it, but I did think of something.
You could do it. I believe in you.
Thanks, babe. So what we are doing is we're kind of coming to the end of our intro series, kind of an intro to who we are, those types of things, because as we obviously been saying, we want to invite you all on our journey.
Yeah.
And we want you to come along with our journey, right? As we share our journey, we want you to share your journey.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured it would be best if you all got to know us initially.
On a more personal level.
Yeah, it's like you have to know who the heck we are, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So we thought we would kind of cap this off with our stories, our journeys through life, how we got to this point. And we're going to do Lindsay's tonight, and we'll do mine next episode. And I think we're also going to do an interview. I think it's really, kind of. I mean, it's not really part of the intro. It's just a good interview. So it'll be good. I think it's going to be episode 10.
Pretty exciting.
It's going to be a good one.
Great.
And we'll occasionally interview people, but yeah. So these next 2 episodes are going to be good. They're going to be a smidge longer. So get ready.
Get comfortable. Grab a drink.
Grab yourself some popcorn or, something else. So, all right. You ready?
I'm so ready. Let's do this.
Okay. So we're going to dive straight in.
Yeah.
So your name is Lindsay.
Lindsay Johnston. Before I married my husband, it was Lindsay Grease.
Oh, okay.
Like car grease, but not spelled that way.
Or bacon grease.
Or like the country grease.
Country grease. What the hell is country grease? You mean like the movie Grease?
No.
What's country grease?
The country grease.
Oh.
Oh, that's a good one.
I thought you meant like country grease.
Nope.
I was like out in the country.
Nope.
I was like, what are you talking about? What the hell's country grease?
So funny. I'm like, am I not saying that right?
No, I know what you meant. That's
hilarious.
Good. That's good. Yeah, not spelled the same. All right.
One for the books, babe.
One for the books. One of my moments. It's late.
It's 9:30.
It's only 9:30. I know. Okay, so let's start. Kind of tell. I mean, you're gonna tell like how you popped out of the womb. You're gonna tell your weight and everything. But
okay.
Yeah, just kind of tell about how your initials of your story, like your family life, what that was like.
Yeah. Well, I really loved growing up. I come from a family of 4 kids. My parents are together. They've been married, I'm going to say 30 plus years.
No, longer than that.
Longer than that, but I'm not going to
maybe 35?
30. Yeah, maybe late 30s.
Not quite 40.
Yeah.
30 to 40.
But they're great parents, super supportive. My dad worked for UPS for 25 years. Super hard worker, has some really fun stories about just his experience there. My mom was a nurse, grown up and a stay-at-home mom, eventually. But come from just a good-sized family. But some moments that I really enjoyed growing up were, trips that we took to a place called Mount Herman. And that was always a really...
Mountains of Santa Cruz, California.
Is that where that is?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. We just called it Mount Herman. That's all that I knew.
No, that's where it is.
Yeah.
It's above Santa Cruz.
I do remember my dad and I used to like look in the bushes and find blackberries and raspberries and just like eat them. Why? What?
I don't know. It's just not what I thought you were going to say. You were like, no. Looking at the bushes. That makes more sense now.
No, yeah. We used to, and that was, a very vivid memory I have. That was really fun. We used to visit family up here. My mom comes from a family of 6 girls.
You mean up here as in Utah?
Utah, yes. And just the car rides up. I don't think we ever flew once just because we didn't have the money.
We had a lot of people too.
Yeah, that's true. And just some of the best times. I come from a family, pretty much everyone's just funny and goofy and are pretty lighthearted. Don't take things too seriously. So it's always just being around cousins, having a good time. Loved it. Always wanted to move up here. Always. And I did. So, some other things that I spent a lot of time doing growing up was riding horses. I used to show horses. And I don't know, that was a big part of my life.
How long did you do that for?
Off and on for probably like 5 years, 5 or 6 years. But I loved it. I think the thing I loved most was jumping competitively. That was really fun. It's like you're flying on a horse. Pretty amazing. Or riding bareback. That was
on the beach with Fabio.
No.
No Fabio?
No. Yeah, those were definitely some things that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, so you grew up in Arizona, born in Utah,
yes.
Grew up in Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said that.
No, I did not.
I'm going to help you out. So born in Arizona, or born in Utah, grew up in Arizona, were there most of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Until I was 18, for sure.
What else? Like, what were some other defining moments of, just your childhood and things like that?
I mean, I've lived in 2 houses from that's really exciting.
I've lived in like 15.
Well, in Arizona. Yeah. I can't remember how old I was. I think I was maybe 10 when we moved into our new house. That was a pretty exciting time. Other defining moments from living in Arizona. Well, Arizona is really exciting. It's nice and hot.
Oh gosh.
Oh, there's monsoons.
Monsoons are cool.
Yeah, those are really, really
What did
fun.
you call them? What's the other term from the haboobs?
Oh, yes. Haboobs.
Haboobs.
Such a weird word.
Yeah.
The
monsoons are trippy.
Yeah. Those are really fun. Obviously, you want to be
black.
You want to be inside. Well, specifically with a haboob, you'll get really dusty and dirty and gross.
Is that more of a sandstorm?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. Trying to think. I mean, I honestly didn't love living in Arizona when I was younger.
Because it's so damn hot.
I think that, and I was just like, it's the desert. It's ugly. Like, why do we live here?
Got a certain beauty to it.
It does. I mean, when now that I don't live there, it's got this beautiful desert view, I guess.
You're not okay. So let's back up. So you're having it. So tell me about your parents. Okay, tell me some things about them.
Yeah. Like I said, my dad worked first he's from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
And he's awesome. I love my dad. He's so kind and he's a hard worker. He's pretty funny. What else? I don't know. I love my dad. He's a great support, great encourager.
Yeah.
And my mom, she's pretty witty, I'd say.
She's very clever.
Yeah, very witty and clever. And so she worked as a nurse for a long time and then eventually became a stay-at-home mom, but actually had like side jobs.
Yeah. Well, she was a nurse on and off, right? For a long time?
Yeah.
Different places. And
She was the school nurse at my high school.
what's your high school?
Huh?
At your high school?
At my high school, yeah. And everyone used to just go in and talk to her. She was like school nurse / school counselor for everybody. Everyone loved her. Or loves her, I should say. But yeah, I mean, my parents are like, I really look up to them. They're such a support. They speak so much life. There were a lot of the areas that I went through that if I didn't have the parents that I had, I think my life would look different.
Sure.
Because of the support that I had from them.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know them. You know them. They're in-laws.
Well, yeah, but we're not talking about me. We're talking about you.
I know that. But I mean, you would agree.
No, they are. They have. I mean, normally you hear stories of dreading your in-laws.
Yeah.
I love my in-laws, so I do love your parents. They're good people.
They're good peeps.
Yeah, they're good peeps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So grew up Arizona, pretty standard. So how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 2 brothers and a sister.
Okay, 2 brothers and a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty normal life, going to school, doing things, sports.
Yeah.
Right, doing all those things.
Yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary.
What was a huge defining moment for you when you were a kid? Let's go back to that.
Okay.
Give me just one.
One defining moment. A defining moment for me would be, it's kind of a funny story. So, okay, so I guess it's not super funny. But what that defining moment definitely, when I was younger, I think I was in 5th or 6th grade, found out I had a learning disability. So what that meant was when I was in 5th grade, I had the reading level of like a first grader or reading and math was pretty behind. And so I had to do this program to get me into this, or to the right grade, right? So even with going through this program and even having this learning disability, there was so much embarrassment and frustration, just wanting to be like everybody else and learn like everybody else, and also not understanding why I couldn't, why I had this thing that I needed to get help with.
Yeah.
But I do remember in this whole process that my mom helped me through it. And she literally, I've told her this before, but she fought for me to learn. She was, fearless. She was determined. She wanted the best for me, and she was going to do what she could to get me to the place that I am today. And that's the type of mom that I want to be for our girls. I want to be a mom that fights for our girls to whatever it may be, whether learn or find their passions or, whatever it may be for them. But from my mom at that time, I got the support that I needed to, get to a place where I could be successful in learning. And, I tell people, if someone shares with me that their kids they have this learning disability, or they keep doing tutoring with them and nothing's working, I just got this picture that it's very much just a Band-Aid. I did a lot of tutoring before we figured out it was something else. And I tell people it's just going to continue to be a Band-Aid until you actually find the thing that needs like fixing, I guess.
Sure. What was that thing for you?
Just that program that helped me.
And what was the program?
Honestly, I don't remember the name. And I wanted to be someone that taught this program to others and helped kids through this. And I can't remember the name of it.
Sure.
So
was this right before you found out you had seizures?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I was in 5th grade when I found out I had a learning disability. And then in 6th grade, we found out I had seizures. And I just remember thinking, another thing, this is awesome. Not awesome, but frustrated with it. And again, something that I was just embarrassed by. And I mean, we already did this episode of me having epilepsy and that journey there, but
check it out. Beyond the Diagnosis.
Yes, Beyond the Diagnosis. It's a good one. And so during that time, it was just very much, low self-esteem, allowing that stuff for me to just I was carrying it. I was carrying it like a backpack and allowing it to just be my identity in a way.
Sure.
And
especially when you're that age. I mean, you don't have a lot that defines you. You're still, especially you're going into those puberty years and everything. I mean, you don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So.
What the hell's going on? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, I think I want you to tell this funny story I thought about that you've told me before. Mm-hmm. And it's just a testimony about how your mom is always there fighting for you.
Yeah.
She's very gracious. She gives a lot of grace. And I mean, it's a pretty random story, but I think it kind of alludes to that a little bit. So
it's really ridiculous is what it is. So this story, it's kind of it's so bad it's humorous. So anyways, we had this dog. Her name was Bessie. And my mom was gifted this dog from my aunt, and she was this teacup poodle. So something that my brother used to do all the time, we had a recliner, and he would fling her off of the chair, and she would land on her feet. And it was just funny to see her fly through the air.
What kind of chair? Like a lazy
recliner.
boy?
Yeah, like an old.
Like you pull the lever and it kicks up the feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So except we would set her on the head part, not the feet part. And so
would you lay it back and then
so to this
you would
day
catapult her?
Yes, okay.
Sure.
So to this day my brother will say, oh, I never did that, but there are definitely times where I'm like, no, you did this. So anyways, the story goes, I had a friend come over who I hadn't seen in however many years, 3 or 5 years. And we were just hanging out, and I was like, oh my gosh, you have to see this. This is really funny. So I get the dog, put her on the chair, fling her off, and she hurts herself very badly. Breaks her neck. This is okay.
This is horrible.
Let me just pause and say this. I love animals, okay? This is not me trying to intentionally hurt.
No, I mean, you're a young kid. You made it obviously a poor choice. Gosh. Don't be flinging dogs. That's bad.
Yeah, not
Maybe
a good thing,
cat.
guys.
Cats land on their feet.
Oh my gosh. And so, and then she starts, guys, it was the worst yelping and so sad. Anyway, so my friend, I don't even remember what friend it was, didn't see her after that.
Apparently.
Yeah, she probably was just
thinks you're a dog killer.
So anyways, we get in the car, and I'm bawling, and my mom's like, Lindsay, it's okay. She had bad liver, so she was probably going to die early anyway. And I just remember, I remember thinking, what is going on? Why is, and then we're driving to the vet, and it's what are they going to do with the dog that just broke its neck? Put it down, right? So it's
unless they give him a little wheelchair.
It's horrible. So there was that. My mom, obviously very gracious.
Sure.
And so then my grandma writes me a card. My grandma was just amazing. And
was this the one that passed away from ALS?
Yeah. And she, just very much it's okay. We love you. Accidents happen.
You're not a crazy serial killer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, guys. This is and I'm really surprised I'm telling this story because I get crap for this incident.
To this day?
To this day.
Good.
Yeah. Which is fair.
That's fair.
Is fair.
It's a weird choice when you're when you're in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you didn't think you were going to kill her.
Oh, no. No.
Right? You were just...
I saw my brother do
exactly.
it.
You're oh, this is so much fun, blah, blah. Yeah, no, it's... Yeah. I don't think you would have flung her if you thought you were going to hurt her. So
yeah, I think the lesson in that, yes, my mom is very compassionate. And
it's a simple lesson. Don't fling dogs off furniture.
Oh my gosh. And then they also can find like the lightheartedness
Yeah,
and like
sure.
the devastating.
I mean, they let you marry me, so you clearly have a
You
sense of humor.
devastating? I don't
No,
think
just-
so. No.
Okay, so you're going through,
Mhm.
you're in middle school.
Yeah.
You find out you have a learning disability that affected you quite a bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like you had to take alternate
Mhm.
classes and that kind of stuff. And then you find you had seizures,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So, during this time, obviously you're just living life, doing your thing. Did you have give me like a good moment and then maybe like a bad moment from high school?
From high school. I mean, a good moment from high school is just that. I think sports were
Mm.
probably a good outlet for me.
What sports did you play?
So my first year in high school, I did cheerleading
Yeah, you did.
because my mom was like, "I think you'll really enjoy this."
Yeah.
Before that, I had played soccer, loved it, but my mom was like, "Just try cheering." I was like, "Ugh, okay." So I did, and guys, I did not like it. I'm just definitely more of a sports person, and
What,
so
cheerleading is not a sport?
I know that's not what I meant, but that's
Just kidding.
And so I wasn't the best cheerleader. I would kind of be sarcastic when I would cheer, and I was.
Of course you did.
That's just what happened. And then I played volleyball, and that just kind of brought me closer.
Probably more confidence, and
Mhm.
after having some pretty big blows when you're younger.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that like my low self-confidence that came from having, experiencing that learning disability, even though I got up to grade level.
Sure.
And seizures still affected, my experience.
Yeah. So then so this leads into your bad time in high school, right?
Mm.
You got yourself into a bad relationship.
Yeah.
So do you think those things, I mean, you kind of just said it, do you think those things just fed? I mean, we're young. We're already struggling with our confidence. We're trying to find our identity. We're trying to do all those things when we're younger. Do you think those things fueled this, why you got into this bad relationship? Go into that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely there was an aspect that it affected that decision. I mean, it's a high school relationship that lasted 3 years. And, there were certain things about that relationship that really weren't great. I mean, too serious, lost a lot of my friends because of the relationship, because we were spending all of our time together. I really didn't have great girlfriends to hang out with and, build have bonds with. And so, but yeah, I would agree. I think that there's that aspect of not really knowing who I was and finding my identity and my weaknesses. And so, yeah, I mean, the relationship was definitely not a highlight from my experience, but I learned things from it, and that I can tell kids in high school, some of the kids that we know in youth group, and just to tell them, slow down, don't take things too seriously. Yeah. This is time just to enjoy your youth.
Yeah. Well, especially then, I mean, like you have told me, that situation, it was not only did you lose your friends or anything, but he was controlling, he was verbally abusive. And, it's the weird thing is like, even as good as parents as you had, they weren't fully aware of the complete extent of the situation.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds horrible, but it's where I was in life at the time, is I lied. I mean, I was with him for 3 years, and probably within the first year, I knew this is not what I wanted, but I would verbalize, oh, it is what I wanted. And I probably convinced myself that this was right. This is what I wanted. I mean, the guy gave me a promise ring, and I remember thinking, oh, this is great. We're going to get married. And then everything hit me, and I was just like, this is not what I want. But I had convinced myself convinced my family that this was what I wanted. So in their minds, oh,
You're
Lindsay's
happy.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
But I was so there was so much turmoil inside.
Mm.
And I feel bad for the guy, honestly, because I was putting on the show
Sure.
that this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And
Well, you're in high school.
yes.
We all,
Okay.
yeah.
So
No one knows what the hell's going on in high school.
if anyone's listening to this that's in high school, seriously, take your time.
Pump the brakes.
Be honest.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, so from high school,
Mm-hmm.
what did you do when you left high school?
Oh, high school was, yeah.
Once
when
high
that
school was
ended,
rough.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like that's when my life started, is when high school ended.
Mm.
Because right after high school ended, I actually moved up to Oregon to be a part of a youth ranch called Crystal Peaks Youth Ranch. And this place, I read a book first. It's called Hope Rising. And this woman named Kim Meter and her husband Troy ran this ranch that was basically a rescue ranch for horses and kids.
Mm.
Horses that were abused and beaten, and then these kids that would come from like the jail system or just, a bad situation. And these kids get to take care of these horses. And so there's this bond that is created. And then eventually when the horses are healthy enough, the kids get to ride them. So it's just this incredible picture of just like restoration.
Sure.
And so I was there for, I think, 2 years. And even in that time, I made great friends. I got really involved with like the church that I went to and just had such a great time.
Yeah.
And that was so just such a great adventure. And one of the best times of my life for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So from there, what did you do next?
Yeah, from there, I actually moved to, it was interesting, actually, let me just pause with that, when I was in Oregon, there was just like this something was shifting. One of my friends who was actually the volunteer coordinator came up to me and she's just like, I feel like something's changing. I feel like maybe God has you in a different season soon, and let's maybe explore that. And so I actually moved to California, San Diego, to do a discipleship program called the Horizon School of Evangelism. And I did that in 2007, I think. And that just was such an incredible experience, honestly, because I grew up Christian. And, I had that foundation from my family. And then I just remember this, it was definitely a defining moment in the school. It was like on the first semester, it was 5 months. And I remember the guy who ran the school, George Clearier, he was talking about Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. And when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, it says that Jesus bled drops of blood. And George said, and, if you study the scriptures, it says that that God had to separate himself from Jesus because of the sin that Jesus took upon himself. And George was just explaining that's why he was bleeding drops of blood, not because he was terrified of the pain that he would endure, but because he had to be separated with his Father. And it just made my relationship with God come to life. And I feel like in that moment, there was a shift, a definite shift that like, it's just not this man who died for me to save my sins. It's this man who gave more to make me whole, to make me into the person that I am today.
Yeah. Okay, so before we continue, just wanted to make sure that you check out Confessions of Us on all the major podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. You can also go to our website at confessionsofus.captivate.com. You can listen to all the podcasts there, but make sure you follow, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends and family. We obviously want to get our story, our journey out to everybody and invite as many people as possible to come journey along with us. And we thank you for spending your time listening to us, because you can, obviously, your time is very important.
Yes.
It's important. So thank you. Okay, so from there, you started, so you did some time of studying at the School of Evangelism, and you started going on missions trips.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
That was, I would say, the mission trips that I went on. So I went with this program called SEND, which stood for Serving and Evangelizing Nations in Despair. And that was quite the experience. Again, defining moments, adventure of a lifetime. My first trip, I got to go to Israel with some awesome leaders there and just a team. I think there was like 5 or 6 of us. Just got to explore Israel, did ministry there, all of that stuff. And then I did a leadership program after Israel. And then in that program, we got set up to lead the team in different countries in Central America. Quite the experience. So fun, challenging, a blast. I don't think I've ever told you this, but I can't remember what country we were in. And we went to like lunch or dinner at this restaurant, and they had the best drinks that I've ever tasted. And I mean, it was like, can't remember what the drinks were, but part of me just wants to figure out what restaurant it was so I can go back and have the same thing.
Sure.
Now, I don't think that is really possible, but I just remember that. And then I remember we were in like the dump basically there, and people will go to the dump, find, recycle stuff that they can use or they can sell or they can make stuff out of. And I remember this woman, I was talking to her and I was just like, are you thirsty? Can I give you something? And so I was able to give her some water. And I also remember just like the dump was literally full of like just water because it rains. And I don't even know if I had boots on. I think I just had tennis shoes. And I remember being, my feet getting just soaked. And just even in the midst of like lack in a sense or struggle or whatever it may be, these people lived life. Like they did not look at their situation and think, oh, I don't have enough. So I need to be like in this state of mind, like I have lack. When these people clearly did not. These people were like so grateful, so friendly, would give you the shirt off their back. And
it goes to show you whether you have it a lot or a little.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Your mindset.
Yeah. Your mindset's truly important.
So got to do that. And then it was time for me and another person to lead a team. And so we had some contacts in Abuja, Africa. And we actually, I don't think I ever told you this either. We took 2 teams and actually just joined them because I don't think we had enough people to go to. I think the other team was going to go to India and they didn't have enough people. And so I actually got to lead. It was 3 of us, my best friend Tanya, my friend Jim, and then I got to lead this team. And Africa is such a unique and beautiful and colorful place in the sense of the people themselves are beautiful and kind and loving. And they know how to dance. They know how to dress.
They know how to party.
They know how to party for sure. They're just awesome people. So, however, I did have such a, the first month.
Yeah. So how long are you there?
4. It was supposed to be 5, but it was 4 because I got, so that first month, great. We got to explore and got to start ministry and then got tested for malaria, had malaria. And then I just...
What gave you like maybe a thought that you had malaria?
Honestly,
obviously, do you just randomly get tested for, or is there a reason?
Our group did. Someone got really sick.
Okay.
And then they were like, let's just test the rest of the crew just in case.
So you didn't even know you had it?
No, I didn't. I didn't feel sick.
Oh, really? There was no like
not with
symptoms
malaria.
to... Wow.
I mean...
Okay.
maybe 2 people had actual signs of malaria.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I don't think looking back, I may have, but I don't. It wasn't intensified for sure.
Sure.
So we got tested. I think they gave us some medicine and everyone ended up being fine. And then maybe a month later, I had actually gotten typhoid fever. Yeah. So then I guess I recovered from that, but then this typhoid fever hit and, it was one of the loneliest times of my life. And I'll probably get emotional because it really, I was just my mind was like, I felt crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we could do multiple episodes just on this because it's such a wild story, but.
Literally, I would say 3.5 months of feeling crazy and not feeling like I could tell anyone because they wouldn't understand.
3.5 months.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I mean, just a few examples. I'm not going to go into anything really deep, but I felt like people on my team were going to get blown up from bombs. I felt like if I told someone something that they would die. It was very much heavy, like death feeling. And
you start to hallucinate too, right? Because your brain is swelling.
Yeah. And so with that, things got really bad. We were in Lagos, Nigeria, and for like our rest and relaxation portion. And they thought, oh, this will be really good. Lindsay will be able to rest and relax. And that was not the case.
Sure.
We were looking to put me in like some sort of mental hospital there just to get like what is going on type of thing. And there was this woman standing outside of the hospital saying, do not put her in there. Like, this is not a good place. And so thank God for this woman. And so I don't even know how long it was, but it was probably a week after they flew me home, an emergency situation. My best friend Tanya came back to the States with me because I couldn't fly alone. And then right as I got off of the airplane, it took me straight to the emergency room. And guys,
How do you get typhoid fever? Do you know?
I believe it is like, this sounds great, but like one way you get it is like feces in your food, things not being cleaned well enough.
Yeah.
And whether that was how I got it or not, but that's one way.
Okay, so you land, take you immediately to the emergency room.
Yeah. Emergency room, went straight to the ICU. I mean, lots of tests, lots of, all of that. And, never been through that before. Pretty terrifying. And I, they end up diagnosing me with encephalitis, swelling in the brain.
So the encephalitis was a symptom of the typhoid fever, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to even really explain in such a short time all that I went through. But I had the support of my family.
Yeah.
I had, yeah.
Well, okay, briefly touch on that. So we'll just give it overarching. So you basically thought you were going in crazy.
Yeah.
Insane.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it was it was my reality.
Sure.
So
it was totally real to you. And it probably, I'm assuming it probably was, because of what was happening in your brain. So.
Yeah. Side note, I actually had my friend Tanya, she's awesome, but I remember telling her how I was feeling and to some degree where she probably couldn't really tell the full extent, but
this is while you were in Africa still.
While I was in Africa, it was probably the early onset of it all. And I was telling her, I'm reading the Bible, and this is what God's telling me, but it was like stuff that was just not accurate. And I remember that like the devil was twisting the word of God, and I couldn't read it with a sound mind. And my friend Tanya was like, you need to stop reading the Bible. And I I couldn't believe she said that, but she was right in that moment because of what was happening, how my brain was, swelling and the state I was in. She was like, you just need to pray. You need to stop reading the Bible. But I didn't listen to her. I was like, she's not right. And so then it just continued.
Sure.
And so that was definitely part of.
So how long were you in the hospital?
Well, I was in the ICU for probably a week. And then I went to like, I don't know what they call it, the normal rooms for a little bit longer. And I just, I had a ton of support,
Sure.
a ton of support from my family and friends. And it was definitely just I don't even know the word to describe it, if there is a word to describe it. I was in my 20s when that happened.
So you're in the hospital for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously you have people coming to, take care of you and everything. What were some of the defining moments during that time? There's just things that stick out to you.
Yeah. Well, once I got out of the hospital, I will say, like I had suffered with, after I got out of the hospital, depression hit real hard, anxiety hit real hard. My mom and my sister came to me crying, saying, you need help. We need to do something. You either need to.
This is when you were home?
Mm-hmm. They either said you need to go start riding horses again, because they knew that brought me life and, breath of fresh air. They said you can go visit Utah, go see family there, because again, that was something that brought life to me. Or they said you need to go to a mental hospital. And I actually decided just to go to a mental hospital, just because I couldn't make decisions that were like for myself.
Sure.
And so went there, and that was something that I never wanted to do, that I never wanted to be associated with, that, I was just like, why would I ever struggle with that? And I never want to go to that. Surprisingly, it was the best thing for me, being around people that had thoughts that were just totally off base, and being like, I'm not alone. And, just getting help, people they would actually bring in dogs and like, it was just fun. I mean, there were moments of it that you're able just to like think through your thoughts. So I went to a mental hospital. I got out of the mental hospital. I do this outpatient. And I remember one of these counselors, we were in like this group, and he's like, tell me about yourself. And I was like, oh, I'm a missionary and some other stuff. And he said, you're not a missionary. He said, that's something that you do. That is not who you are. And it instantly hit me that I was finding my identity, or I felt like I was losing my identity because I was finding it in something that I did and not something who I was.
Sure.
And so in that, like, I just want to encourage people that if there is any part of you that thinks, oh, I am a mom, I am a wife, I am a CEO of a business, though that is not who you are. That is something that you do.
It's good.
Even though you may enjoy those. I mean, I love being your wife and I love being a mom, but that is not who I am. And so it's something that's a part of me. And so I just want to encourage anyone that's listening that maybe that resonates with you to just remember that you're more than a job.
Yeah. So you're going through, so you go to the hospital, you're released, you're like, you're going into, a mental institution to try and, obviously get professional help.
Yeah.
How long was this journey?
This journey was about a year and a half. Wow. I even remember this doctor in the hospital telling my mom, oh, there's this new surgery, new thing that we're trying out to help people with encephalitis. And, he thought maybe my mom would agree to, maybe look down that path to get over this. And then this other doctor comes in and says, don't do it. And my mom, the doctor was just saying he knew someone that went through it, or maybe it was his son or something. And it was just, he was worse than before. And my mom just looks at me and she said, doctors will never like contradict or
Sure.
tell a patient to like disregard. And thank God that doctor did that. Because it took me 1.5 years to recover from this, but like fully back to who I was before.
Yeah.
And one way, I would say the best way I really did, I did heal at that time. I spent a lot of time with my sister Jessica and her, my niece Esther. And to be totally honest, if I hadn't had that time with my sister and my niece, I don't know if I would have healed as quickly or even as strongly as I did. There's something very special about like just kids in general.
Yeah.
And the ability to just love you as you are. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, we wouldn't do like super significant things. We would like do crafts, or we'd make cookies, or it was the simplest things, but it helped me get to the place mentally that I needed to be at.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because I remember you telling me during this time is like, it had so many effects on you, like anxiety and depression and, you were on medicine, you were on all these things, all this journey, and now you're not.
Yeah.
You're not in any of that stuff. So, I think it's, that story just always gets me because of what a journey that is like. And to come out on the other side and be, just as strong and resilient. I mean, obviously all those things shape who you become. It's one of the things I love about you, but
thanks, babe.
So okay. So kind of fast forward. Okay. So kind of bring us in.
Yeah.
Land this puppy. So all those things shape you. You go through this incredible, journey in Africa. You get super sick. You are kind of coming around, feeling better, and then you move.
Yeah. It was actually my sister that suggested because I love adventure. So she said, you should go help my friend Mary, who is someone she went to college with. She just said she needs a nanny and maybe you could go do that for a little while. And I was like, yes, let's do that. So then I moved, to Washington. Literally no other reason other than to help her with her daughter.
Yeah.
Loved it.
How long were you there?
5 months. It was supposed to be longer, but she was in the military. So obviously with military, people get, moved around and she was married. So, met great friends, helped out in like Young Life. I think that's what that was out there. Just had so much fun. Time of my life, seriously. Did that. And then 5 months later, I had the opportunity to either go back home or move here. And
Where's here?
Utah. Sorry, guys. And I just thought, in this moment, I have no other responsibilities. Why not move to?
And you had such fun memories. Like you said,
absolutely.
coming here with your family and all your extended family was here, your aunts and your uncles. And all that,
cousins. So decided to move here, Utah. And, different jobs, different experiences. And then come to the point where I meet you.
Yes.
Yeah. Meet you. And that's quite the adventure.
Yeah. So you obviously get married.
Yes.
Okay. And you can check out the episode Magister if you want to know about that.
Magister, yes.
Snow cones and tattoos and Magister if you want to hear about our dating and married life. So you hang out for a while.
Yeah.
build new community, living up in Park City.
Yep.
And then we meet, date, get married.
Yeah.
Now we have 2 babies.
Life goes too fast.
Yeah. So we've been married, or we've been dating. Basically, we've been together 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years next month.
Great 5 years.
So how would you say, or what would you say, would it maybe give me like a couple or one or whatever, have been just some of the most important things you've learned through your journey? Just through dating and epilepsy and, I mean, I know you didn't cover everything tonight. There's a couple things, but like you've almost died a couple times. Like when you were little on a sledding accident, you hit your head and almost died. You, you're battling seizures this whole time. Then you're in Africa and you almost die. You have such a powerful story, but so kind of like cap it off. Yeah. If you would.
I would say that just even the thread, I would use the word thread. The thread of my life is like endurance, I would say. And in the midst of, or maybe there's another word, but in the midst of hardship, struggle, you don't give up. I mean, it's really kind of crazy because even riding horses gave me that perspective, kind of you get back on the horse.
Sure.
And I know this is kind of a side tangent, but I remember this moment that I was jumping. That was, they were teaching me how to jump, and it was that night, and fell off the horse pretty bad. I went over a jump. The horse fell on her knee, and I flew over her head. Didn't hurt myself, but in that moment, I had to decide, like, to get back on the horse.
Sure.
And so, just honestly, in my life, a lot of thread is just endurance. The
theme.
Yeah, the theme
is endurance.
Yeah. And again, it has not been easy. There have been multiple moments where I wanted to give up. I was done, but that's not life. What kind of life do you want to live? Do you want to endure and come on the other side stronger?
Sure.
Or just give up?
Yeah.
There's no shame in admitting a weakness, but completely giving up. That was my there's no excuse to give up. And I had parents that taught me hard work.
Sure.
I mean, thank God for the parents I have, because again, I just wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't have them.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Any other closing thoughts?
Rock on. I don't know.
Rock on.
Rock on.
I love it.
Live life.
Yeah. Okay. So this has been Lindsay's story.
Yep.
We're so glad that you joined us. We're going to land this puppy because it was a long one. We'll save some moments of randomness for some other episodes.
Yeah.
But we don't want to take up too much of your time. We're so honored that you continue to listen. Thanks. Be sure to tune in next episode where you hear my story. My story is not nearly as powerful as yours. So
stop.
I'll try my best.
True.
But we love you guys.
Yeah.
This is John.
This is Lindsay.
And this is Confessions of Us.
Night.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Confessions of Us Podcast. You may also send us any questions you have to confessionsofuspodcast@gmail.com. Check the description box below for all links to social media and places you can subscribe to the podcast.